Well, good morning. It's Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I'm Steve Hare, your guest host this week, sitting in for the vacationing Dan Kuntz. He'll be returning Monday with more. And of course, I'm here all week long to share with you all the events of the day. And right now we have the returns from yesterday's general election to share with you. At least some of the top contested races here in Chelan and Douglas County. So stay tuned for that. That's coming up in our newscast just minutes away. Pretty meager turnout yesterday. Disappointed to see that in Douglas County so far, only 18% of the registered voters actually cast their ballots yesterday. Not much better in Chelan County. 25% of the registered voting population cast their ballots yesterday as well. But it's all over, except for the lingering ballots that still need to be tabulated by the auditors in Chelan and Douglas County. But again, we do have your election night returns. That's coming up here in just a few minutes. Also, very special program today. We have some amazing information to share with you in the second half hour about the future of transportation and road projects here in the Wenatchee Valley. It could be a whole new facelift in terms of the magnitude of projects that they're planning to do here in the Wenatchee Valley, all paid for with about $250 million in grant and local match money. That's just a huge project. Steve King, who serves as the City of Wenatchee's Community Development Director, will be joining me here in the second half hour to explain just what it is that we're applying for in terms of a federal grant money, and then the projects that are listed as to be paid for by this grant funding. And it's basically, they're calling it completing the Apple Capitol Loop, and it could mean a third bridge across the Wenatchee River. So we'll tell you more about that coming up in the second half hour of the show. Well, it looks like we're in for another dose of snow tonight. We'll have more on the forecast also coming up, along with our regular features. Mike Magnotti, because everybody certainly is entitled to his opinion. We'll have that for you a little bit later on. Our obscure holidays, our birthdays of the day, and this date in history. So stay tuned for all of that is coming up. But first of all, as we always do every morning on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, let's get a sneak peek of what we can expect to see around the valley. And with that, we go to our Sky-Fi wireless internet cameras. Our network of cameras around the valley gives us this bird's eye view. This view is from the cross cam on Wenatchee Heights, looking north and west along the Columbia River. On the left, you see the Wenatchee city. On the right, you see East Wenatchee. And in between, a river runs through it, as they say. The Senator Seller Bridge there, the closest in the foreground. The pedestrian pipeline bridge there, also seen. But still a little bit of snow left over from earlier in the week, but not much. Just kind of a speckle of snow and some just a small little mantle of snow on the hillsides as well. That's how it looks this morning, looking at the overcast skies from our cross cam at Wenatchee Heights. We switch now to our camera up on number 1 Canyon, looking towards the Tarpiskin and Clackamas. That's south and east of Wenatchee. There you can see just a little hint of sunshine there on the left as it rises in the sky over the Clackamas. And beautiful view here looking down on Wenatchee under these slate gray skies this morning, but a beautiful shot there as well. Turning now to our number 3 camera, which is at Howe's Landing. And again, you'll have to tell me where this is, Caitlin, that we're looking down on the Columbia River. And that's the Orondo side of Douglas County, looking across to Chelan County, across the Columbia River. That's a beautiful shot there, the orchards in the Orondo area. And again, Sky-Fi wireless internet provides us with these great images. And finally, Steins Hill, looking out across the valley right now. And as you can see, pretty much overcast skies today, and that's the way it's going to stick around according to our forecast, and we'll have that for you in a minute. But again, that's looking down from Steins Hill Road. So it's a nice shot there. Thanks, Caitlin, for sharing those pictures with us. And again, every morning we'd like to share those camera images from our Sky-Fi network of high-definition cameras. Again, you're tuned to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley and our weather forecast now. that we can share with you. And again, Old Man Winter is going to pay us another visit, looks like tonight, with a chance of some snowfall. In fact, a good likelihood of snow after 5 o'clock this afternoon. It will remain cloudy through the remainder of the work week. A high near 36 today, overnight low dipping to about, let's see, around 33 degrees tonight. And here you can see how this weather is starting to shape up here in the Northwest. You can see that band of moisture that's going to be meeting up with that cold air coming down from Canada. And that's going to be converging right about where we live here in central Washington. So we are expecting snowfall. However, they're not calling for a great accumulation of snow. Maybe half an inch at the most is what they're telling us right now. Of course, that could change, so stick with us here at NCW Life, and we'll keep you updated on that weather forecast. For tonight, again, snow before 5 a.m., then rain and snow mix. For Thursday, it looks like rain and snow showers to start our day before 11 a.m., then a chance of rain showers after that with a high of 45. So temperatures are, daytime highs will probably mean more rain than snow, at least through Saturday. We're looking for pretty consistent high temperatures with mid 40-degree range there, and then low to mid 30s for your overnight lows under continuing cloudy skies. May see a little moon break tonight, but other than that, it's just going to be gray and dreary and wet possibly as well. But it's that time of the year, and here we go as we get into the fall season. Most of the fall colors, I think, have pretty much disappeared as the leaf piles start to grow in the Wenatchee Valley right now. I noticed that driving around the valley yesterday. A lot of people still have a lot of leaf raking to do, a lot of piles out there. Hey, welcome to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on a Wednesday morning, this 8th day of November. And let's take a quick look now at our pass conditions. Pretty good right now, mostly bare and wet conditions over Snoqualmie Pass. We have no restrictions right now over any of our Cascade passes. We did find out yesterday mid-morning that Highway 20, the North Cascades Highway, reopened yesterday. We'll see how long that goes, but they reopened it, and so now you can travel the Northern Cross with no restrictions, we understand. Also, Stevens Pass, no restrictions right now, mostly bare and wet conditions. But watch out for those areas of freezing roadway, mostly in those shadier curves. And then Blewett Pass right now, as you can see here from our DOT cam, it's mostly bare and wet. But again, there might be some ice in places, so watch out for that. That's a look at our Cascade passes right now in Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. More to come, including your local news and our election returns. So stick around, we have a lot more coming up next on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley.
I've been watching Price is Right since I was a little kid.
Price is Right, and I'm like freaking out. It's crazy. We're gonna win big!
Now, here it comes. On stage and in person, The Price is Right. Live. All the games, prizes, and excitement. And now, more winners than ever before. You could even win from your seat. Don't miss your chance to come on down at The Price is Right live stage show.
November 30th, Town Toyota Center. Reserve seats on sale now at towntoyotacenter.com.
Having a relationship with your pediatrician is so important. Feeling that sense of trust, that is priceless. I tell everybody about CBCH. I love it there. When I make an appointment, I don't have to take an entire day off. As a working mom, my life is really busy. Family time is everything. That's what we all work towards. And I feel like CBCH respects that.
And now it's time for your local news update with Steve Hare.
And at 9 minutes after the hour, welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, and here's what's happening in the news around north central Washington today. On this post-election day, Wenatchee School District voters appear to want a change in leadership on the school board that, judging from Tuesday's election night returns. 3 candidates running on a shared platform calling for more transparency and community engagement are leading in the polls right now. As you can see from our graphic here, Michelle Sandberg, Sunny Hemphill, and Sarah Knox are ahead in the polls and appear to be headed for victory. Michelle Sandberg was running unopposed until the incumbent, Robert Sealby, decided to run as a write-in. And of course, in our graphic right now, that write-in vote will not be counted until after all the votes are cast and tabulated. So at this point, Michelle Sandberg appears to be winning that race, although we do not know what the write-in vote was at this point. But again, looks like Sunny Hemphill is going to upset Claudia de Robles, the incumbent, and it would be Sarah Knox ahead of Jennifer Talbot in that race for the position number 5 seat on the Wenatchee School Board. So some change is coming, it looks like, on the Wenatchee School Board. Also, in other contested races in Chelan County, Wenatchee City Council members Ruth Esparza and Keith Huffaker, both incumbents, are out polling their challenger. Adriana Farnsworth was the challenger against Ruth Esparza, and Adam McDonald appears to have lost in his bid to unseat Keith Huffaker at this point. In Leavenworth, political newcomer Clint Strand leads Tibor Locke for a position on the city council there. Carolyn Wilson leads Jason Lundgren, and Sharon Fain Waters appears to have beaten Gary Flanagan for that seat, again on the Leavenworth City Council. Turning now to Kashmir, David Erickson, who also does double duty as Wenatchee City's Parks and Recreation Director. David Erickson has been reelected, apparently, to another term on the Kashmir City Council. And understand that all of these returns and vote results are unofficial until the election is certified later this month. In Chelan, the race is pretty tight in the City Council race between Cameron Morehouse and Tim Hollingsworth, as well as the seat being contested by Ty Witt and Rachel Goldie. As you can see here, really very close race in that Hollingsworth-Morehouse race, and fairly close too also in the Witt versus Goldie race. So those still have to be decided, and again, the election results are unofficial until the final vote counts. Also, we have in the Cascade, or actually the Eniat City Council race, we have Robert Anderson leading Norman Stenberg. But again, it's too close to call in the other contest. Only one vote separating John Alt and Ryan McDonald. So you think your vote doesn't count? 107 to 106 in that race right now. So obviously too close to call. Meanwhile, the Cascade School District race has Cindy Puckett out polling Ellen Beardsley rather comfortably there at this point. So she appears to have won that seat. Also, the graphic that we're showing you now for the Lake Chelan School District, where Ken Bruner appears to have won a seat on that board over David Reinhardt. And again, this is a combined school district that has to factor in Douglas, Chelan, and Okanogan County. So that's how we have it standing right now. Also, 2 seats are contested in the Lake Chelan Hospital District Board race. Position 1 leader Mary Signorelli has a slim lead over Jeremy Jake, and Phyllis Gleesman appears to have a comfortable lead over Jerry Eisenhart. For more election night returns and other Chelan County races, we invite you to go to our website at ncwlife.com, where we have a full roundup of all the races in Chelan, Douglas, Grant, and Okanogan counties. And again, to repeat, very dismal voter turnout in Chelan County, with thus far only 25% casting their ballots. Turning our attention now to Douglas County, where no big upsets to report in election night returns there. In the only contested race on the East Wenatchee City Council, Chuck Johnson is held off a challenge by Morgan Fletcher. That, again, unofficial until the final votes are cast and counted. Also in the Eastmont School District race, incumbent Dave Pipel leads his challenger, John Brangwin, by a handy margin at this point. Brangwin, a Wenatchee area attorney, running on a platform of change, and he was also in favor of changing the name of the Robert E. Lee Elementary School, but in terms of maybe attracting more votes, that didn't seem to be the case there. Also, let's turn now to Rock Island, where we have the race for City Council position 1. That's a real nail biter right now with only 1 vote separating Ray Pearson and Cameron Marchmont. Position 4 has Mariah Moneysmith-Kreider leading Jana Howard. And for more information on the other Douglas County races, you can log on to our website again at ncwlife.com. And Douglas County again registered a mere 18% voter turnout for Tuesday's general election. Chelan County, a 25% turnout. Folks, you got to do better than that. Also in other news to report this morning, a South Wenatchee Avenue house sustained some damage last night in a structure fire that appears to have started in a couch outside the home. Crews from Chelan County Fire District 1 put that fire out in fairly quick order, and there are no reports of injuries, although details of that fire not immediately known. Initial reports indicated the fire damaged a power pole and again a couch in the alley behind that home. Douglas County Commissioners delayed a decision on whether or not to green light waste management plans to haul Canadian trash into the county. Commissioners voted to wait for the Department of Agriculture's review. It could bring a new set of standards to solid waste imports. That review is expected in 6 months. Commissioner Steve Jenkins said the main issue revolves around the potential threats to the tree fruit industry from imported waste being brought in from Canada. Commissioners ultimately decided Monday that an advisory committee with the county's agriculture tech department needs to review the application and then make recommendations on pest risk and control procedures. Washington State Patrol's North Central Washington region welcomes 8 new troopers who graduated earlier this month from the Trooper Basic Training class. There you see them there in front of their headquarters there at Old Station. Troopers complete over 1,000 hours of training to join Washington's premier law enforcement organization. The Washington State Patrol Academy produces about 3 cadet classes every 2 years, and that accounts for about 100 to 120 new troopers. On average, only 4 to 6% of all those who apply for a job with the State Patrol actually become troopers. So congratulations to those 8 new troopers. Welcome to what is considered the largest service area in Washington State, here in that 6th region, I believe they call it. And again, that wraps up our news for this November 8th, post-election day. And again, for all of your election night returns, go to our website at ncwlife.com, and you can find that. You can find all of the results from last night for Chelan, Douglas, Grant, and Okanagan counties for your convenience. I'm Steve Harris, sitting in for Dan Kuntz, who's on vacation this week. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Next up, sports from around North Central Washington.
I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCW Life channel.
I'm Eric Grandstrom with NCW Life Sports.
I'm NCW Life News Director Steve Harris.
Catch us on Local Tel Channel 12.
You can watch us on Charter Channel 19 or stream us live on ncwlife.com.
Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook.
Where we cover the local high schools, the Wenatchee Wild, and the pro teams out of Seattle.
On Saturday, we have a 90% chance of rain.
Catch it all right here on the NCW Life channel.
Hi everyone, Brent Crowder here at Town Nissan. Come on down to Town Nissan and help us celebrate the best-selling SUV in America today, the 2017 Nissan Rogue, along with its big brother, the Nissan Murano, and the beautiful Maxima, and the all-new Nissan Titan, and the all-new Nissan Armada. Come down and see us and see why we are the fastest-growing car company in America today. Come down and see us at Town Nissan behind Costco in East Wenatchee.
And welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley for this Wednesday morning. Again, I'm Steve Hare. It's now 19 minutes after the hour and time for our North Central Washington Sports Report. The Apple Bowl lights were glowing bright last night with girls soccer taking center stage. Eric Grandstrom has the story.
Wenatchee took on Chiawana in a first-round game of the State 4A playoffs here on Tuesday night at the Apple Bowl. On a cold night, the snow was shoved off to the sidelines, and it was a hot first half of action as Wenatchee kept the ball and the pressure on Chiawana. The game was knotted at zeros heading into halftime, and Coach John Springer says he told the girls to expect Chiawana to come out tough in that second half.
And they did. They had us on our heels there for a good stretch. But, you know, the girls were able to regroup and kind of figure things out. It's tough to do in this game because you can't call a timeout and bring them back together and kind of process what's going on. So, but the girls figured that out. And, you know, again, this time of year, it's going to be 1-0 games, 2-1 games, and I was just really hoping we could avoid overtime. They're number 10, that Summer Yates plays for the U20 national team. You saw the skills that she has. But our defense was phenomenal. They've been phenomenal all year long, and they shut her down. Couldn't have asked for anything better. I thought for sure she'd be good for 1 or 2 goals. I thought it would take 3 from us to win the game. But once we started and I saw how on it the girls were, and so I was just really, really pleased with just kind of the way we came out right from the start.
In fact, it was a defensive turnaround that meant the only goal in the game.
I don't know what was going through my head. I didn't even know the goalie was out really, and then I was like, looked up, I was like, oh, and so shot it, and it thankfully went in.
Jaden Griggs with the goal, as she's done so many times for the Panthers all season long and throughout her career. She says she's certainly happy to get past that first round.
We've been super excited. We go to state every year. We have been since my freshman year, and we haven't got past the first round, and so tonight we did, and that was our hope, so we're super excited.
Coach Springer says, well, you check off the league championship, you check off the district championship, and now finally they are able to get to the second round of the state tournament.
Finally got that monkey off our back. This group has been to this state 2 of the last 3 years and just haven't been able to, well, let's see, 3 of the last 4 years, 4 of the last 5 years, and just haven't been able to get past that first round, and it just speaks to the difference of having a home field, and we knew that coming into the season. Our goal was to get home field for that first round. To me, that was the difference of the game.
That second round will be right here at the Apple Bowl Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock. From the Apple Bowl in Wenatchee, as Wenatchee downs Chiawana 1-0, I'm Eric Grandstrom for the NCW Life Channel.
Thanks, Eric. Let's give a big shout out to the Wenatchee Panther girls. They're hosting Kennedy Catholic Saturday after the Lancers edged Lake Stevens last night 1-0. Now let's take a look at the Les Schwab Prep scoreboard. There you see the finals in the 4A state playoffs from last night. It was not such a good night for the Kashmir Bulldogs, though. Ladies were on the road for a first-round 1A state playoff soccer tilt with LaSalle. Natalie Munguia scored in the first minute of the home team and added another on Cameron Fiskus' 28th goal of the season in the 47th minute. They downed Kashmir 2-1. The Bulldogs' only goal came on an own goal by LaSalle in the 76th minute. Kashmir finishes the season with a very, very commendable 13-6 record. In girls bowling yesterday, Wenatchee and Eastmont girls took part in a jamboree in Moses Lake to get the season started, and the Panthers edged the Wildcats by 41 pins. High rollers for Wenatchee were Hannah Johnson with a 189, Taylor Bitterman with a 188, and Emily Grothy with 171. Wenatchee faces Sunnyside on Monday. On the prep schedule for tonight, Cascade hopes the Apple Bowl will return another favor for a local team as the Kodiaks play in the State 1A tournament against Kiona Benton. The Bears come in as the number 2 seed after falling to LaSalle in the South Central Athletic Conference District Tournament. Cascade is the number 1 seed out of the Caribou Trail League and proudly serves up a record of 17-0-1 on the season. Tonight's game kicks off at 5:30. And that's a wrap on your North Central Washington Sports Report for this Wednesday morning. Steve Hare, it's 24 minutes after the hour here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. And as Dan normally does at this time, we share with you our obscure holiday of the day, which happens to be Dunce Day. It's National Dunce Day. I think it was misspelled. Dunce, or actually Dunce. Dunce Dunce celebrates the term dunce, and you all know about the dunce caps, those large cone caps that we were forced to wear as kids in the corner if you misbehaved or were considered maybe not as smart as the other kids in the classroom. Today marks the death, November 8th, 1308, of medieval scholar Duns Scotus, and he's from Dunce, Scotland. Dunce Day is actually all about learning. So let's get right to it and learn about dunce caps and the creator of those caps. Duns Scotus of Duns, Scotland was a medieval scholar. Actually, perceptions of his views range from brilliant to less than complimentary. Duns Scotus believed that cone-shaped hats increased learning potential, all right? He believed knowledge would flow from the point of the cap down and into the head of the wearer, making that person smarter. Okay, about all this accomplished over time was the perception of a person wearing a dunce cap to be a dunce, basically. There was a positive side to his use of dunce caps. It motivated the wearer to learn more so he could be rid of the cap. Scholar critics of his work derived the term dunce from his name and place of birth, Dunce, Scotland. Put on a dunce cap today and have a very smart and educational Dunce Day. In fact, it's every year on November 8th. Turning now at 26 after the hour to our significant dates in history, some interesting events that occurred on this date, November 8th. 128 years ago, it was on 1889 that Montana was admitted as the 41st U.S. state. Our meteorologist and news anchor, Grant Olson, is a Montanan, I guess they call themselves. Montana, interestingly enough, does not have an official nickname, such as I believe it's New Hampshire is the Granite State, Illinois is the land of Lincoln, Washington is the Evergreen State, but Montana doesn't have a moniker like that. Interesting. They do have a state animal, though, the grizzly bear. So that's Montana. It was made a state in 1889, 128 years ago today. It was on this date 47 years ago, 1970, on the final play of the game, kicker Tom Dempsey kicks a 63-yard field goal to give the New Orleans Saints a 19-17 win over the Detroit Lions. At that time, it was a record. It was tied on 3 subsequent occasions until Matt Prater kicked a 64-yard field goal on December 8th of 2013. Interesting thing about Tom Dempsey, he had a deformed right foot. As you can see him preparing to kick there, he had to wear a special shoe because he didn't have any toes. It was just a block there where the toes normally are, and so that apparently helped him in guiding the ball through the uprights. Tom Dempsey kicked that world record field goal on this date back in 1970. It was in 1972 on this date, 45 years ago, that HBO home box office started broadcasting to 325 subscribers in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. That's where it got its start. Today, HBO has 50 million subscribers in the U.S., 130 subscribers worldwide. A major success story for HBO that started on this date 45 years ago today. And now, let's turn to our birthdays for today. And by the way, for celebrating your birthday, happy birthday to you. You share a birthday, by the way, with Margaret Mitchell, who was born on this date in 1900. She's a famous American journalist and author. She died in 1949 at the age of 48. She's the author of Gone with the Wind, the only book she wrote that was published in her lifetime. It took her 3 years to write it. Margaret Mitchell, born on this date in 1900. And the other famous person who shares that birth date, singer and songwriter Bonnie Raitt, who turned 68 today. She's an American singer, songwriter, guitarist. She's a winner of 10 Grammy Awards. And of course, we all know those songs, Something to Talk About, Love, Sneaking Up on You, and I Can't Make You Love Me. Bonnie Raitt, great singer, songwriter, celebrating her 68th birthday today. So happy birthday. By the way, if you have a birthday that you'd like to share with us, please send us a picture, and we'd be very happy to share that with you on the air. So if you have a loved one or someone you know is celebrating a birthday, get that to us either through our Facebook messaging, or you can contact us by email at ncwlife, that's news at ncwlife.com. I'm Steve Hare. We have a lot more coming up on this Wednesday morning on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Steve King with the City of Wenatchee joins me next in our guest feature. We're going to be talking about the future of transportation in the Wenatchee Valley, and I'll tell you what, it looks pretty bright, but it also looks pretty expensive. We'll talk about that with Steve, but we also have Mike Magnotti, because everybody's entitled to Mike Magnotti's opinion again today. We have that and a lot more coming up as Wake Up Wenatchee Valley continues for this November 8th Wednesday.
Of the Wenatchee Valley, do you know the secret of receiving the perfect gift for your birthday, anniversary, or Christmas? We have the answer for you at Collins Fashions. Come in and fill out a wish list. You can choose from beautifully crafted jewelry, handbags, and luggage from Brighton, stylish wallets and handbags from Lotus, cozy sweaters from Icelandic, zip fleece from Tommy Bahama, fashions from Joseph Ribkop, and Collins gift cards. Our little elves can contact your loved ones and share your wish list. Complimentary gift wrap and amazing service at Collins Fashions in downtown Wenatchee.
SkillSource specializes in assessing and guiding youth, adults, and laid-off workers who want to improve their skills. Here you can attend in-depth workshops to assess skills and interests, make career plans, and learn computer basics.
Learning centers provide eligible youth and adults individualized computer-assisted basic education. Vocational training is arranged with approved providers like community colleges or on the job with businesses.
Don't wait any longer. Let's get working on the future you've been dreaming about.
The Wenatchee Valley Senior Activity Center presents their 2017 Holiday Craft Fair. Mark this date on your calendar and be sure to bring a friend. It's Saturday, November 11th. And you're going to want to make a day of it as you shop the many booths from traditional to contemporary handcrafted items for your holiday gift giving. Enjoy a snack and enter to win prizes at the raffle tables. Get a jump start on your holiday gift giving by shopping the Wenatchee Valley Senior Activity Center's annual Holiday Gift Fair, Saturday, November 11th from 9 to 3.
Hey folks, Carrie from Blueberry Hills. A chill is in the air and it's a perfect time for some old-fashioned comfort food like our amazing Eggs Benedict, chicken fried steak, French dips, soups made from scratch, or fruit pies fresh from the oven. The crowds might be gone, but we're still here for you folks, so bring an appetite and a friend to Blueberry Hills in Manson, where you pick, you sit, you eat, and you visit. Open Wednesday through Sunday from 8 to 3. wildaboutberries.com.
Hey there, Wenatchee. I'm Sean Lee, and I'm inviting you to come down and check out what we're all about at Badger Mountain Brewing.
Great beer, good food, and an endless source of entertainment for the whole family. Our Honey Blonde beer is flying off the shelves at your local grocery store. But I tell you what, it's even better on tap. And while you're here, try our signature Badger sauce with one of our delicious meals. Whether you're in the mood for a wrap, salad, pizza, or nachos, Badger Mountain Brewing has what you're looking for.
Make sure you survive winter. Call Central Washington Heating and Air before it's too late. This winter, don't get shocked by the cold. Call Central Washington Heating and Air today.
This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, the Second Amendment states that Americans have the right to own firearms. Now, that's what it says. Some folks, though, claim that our founding fathers were only talking about muskets, as if these folks sometimes can channel what Thomas Jefferson's mindset is to tell us what he thinks. Well, the founding fathers were not talking specifically about muskets, though. They were talking about the current technology. Yeah, maybe they wouldn't have meant semi-auto pistols and rifles with 30-round clips if those things had been in existence at the time, but we do know that they were adamant about this right to allow you and I to protect ourselves from tyrannical government. That's what they were thinking of. Now, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
At Local Myth Pizza, we believe in real food, freshly prepared with only premium ingredients. Our cheeses are imported from Italy. Our sauces, dressings, and even our sausages are made in-house fresh daily. Featuring Northwest craft beers and 30 Chelan Valley wines and ciders. Family fun and amazing food. Eat local, drink local, and be local at Local Myth Pizza.
Come see why Sunset Magazine says you can't beat Local Myth Pizza.
Quality, comfort, style, service. This is the Crown Furniture difference for more than 50 years. Their commitment to you is to provide the best furniture and mattresses the industry has to offer at a great price. Shop Crown Furniture today to experience the difference. And remember, free setup, delivery, and haul away in their service area is just another way they show they care.
Hi, this is Carl.
And Kathy from East Wenatchee Grocery Outlet. We are excited to be a part of this wonderful community and look forward to meeting you at East Wenatchee Grocery Outlet.
Our store is filled with name brand products at bargain prices at 40 to 60% savings. We have a large selection of natural, organic, and specialty foods.
Stop by and meet Carl, the wine guy, on Wednesday.
East Wenatchee Grocery Outlet, where you can win what you saved. Stop by soon.
The Arbiter of Stoke is a series that highlights a variety of outdoor adventure sports that are available in the Pacific Northwest. I dedicate my time to enjoying this natural playground. The decision is yours. How will you keep your stoke?
Well, good morning and welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I'm Steve Hare, and it's time for our guest feature now on our program. And I think we have some really exciting news to share with our residents of the Wenatchee Valley, and that's on both sides of the river, folks, because there's a major project in the offing right now. The City of Wenatchee and several other entities are going to be applying for a major federal grant, and of course couple that with a local match to pay for a massive project list of road projects here in the Wenatchee Valley. And here to join me to explain what's happening and what might be in our future, Steve King, who with the City of Wenatchee serves as the city's Community Development Director. So Steve, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Steve. Pleasure to be here.
You know, when I first heard about this, I said, you've got to be kidding me. There's no chance for the city to obtain, upwards of $250 million in grant funding to pay for these projects. But first of all, I'm going to let you explain what it is that we're embarking on here.
You bet, you bet. So we have this loop in our valley, and it's George Seller Bridge, Sunset Highway, Otabashan Bridge, North Wenatchee Avenue, on down through town. And so that loop is our transportation lifeline. It's our backbone. And if you think about it, if you drive anywhere in this valley, you're going to touch that loop. And in most cities, they have an interstate system. And the federal government invests a lot of money in interstate systems. I don't care if you're Moses Lake, Spokane, Yakima. And the community gets the benefit from that investment. Wenatchee doesn't have an interstate system. And this grant program came open where it favors rural communities. And so we said, you know what? Our loop is our interstate. This is what is our lifeline for our economics, for freight, for this valley. And so we said we need to go big. We talked to folks in Washington, D.C. at USDOT, and they said, go big.
So you've already reached out.
We've already reached out. And so we brought the partners together in the valley to submit one application instead of piecemealed approach.
This is a huge project, an undertaking that involves several entities. In fact, I'll read those for you right now. We have the City of Wenatchee is applying for this grant on behalf of partnership with the DOT, the Port of Douglas County, City of East Wenatchee, Chelan County, the Port of Chelan County, the Chelan-Douglas Transportation Council, Link Transit, and Burlington Northern Santa Fe.
affects a lot of entities, doesn't it?
But I guess that makes it more attractive.
It does. It really does. And if you think about if we were all applying for our own projects, it would add up. And so when you consolidate everything together, and the great thing is we have DOT who's already has funds slated for this area, upwards of $81 million for North Wenatchee Avenue and Sunset Highway. That's our match. So we're asking for $150 million of federal funds. We already have $81 million of state funds coming here, plus we have $20 million of link and city funds that will go into this.
I know that you provided us with some illustrations of what we can expect to see. Don't have these in any particular order, but Caitlin, if you can bring up this first one, which is the Confluence Parkway artist's rendition. And I don't know who did the artwork here, but it's quite good.
It's quite good. You know, Allison Williams had a great idea. She said, we need to get some perspectives and visuals on what Confluence Parkway would look like. So we hired Jan Cook Mack, famous artist in the Valley. Yeah. And she put together some different exhibits that show us what it could look like. And there's a lot of work to be done to finalize the design, but in this picture, Confluence Parkway, which is a big part of the grant, provides us a parallel bypass to North Wenatchee Avenue, and you're looking there at the walking bridge that exists today, the railroad bridge, and then right in the middle of it, we would put Confluence Parkway, a two-lane road.
This would be our third bridge then that we're referencing here. That goes over the Wenatchee River. It's a third bridge over the Wenatchee, not the Columbia River. And there on top there, Route 285, which is the existing Wenatchee bridge,
yeah. And the neat thing about this is, when we had the Sleepy Hollow fires, North Wenatchee Avenue was just jam-packed. Well, this Confluence Parkway will connect back into the system down at Miller Street by Denny's.
Oh.
And so there'll be another way out of town.
A bypass.
A bypass, yeah. And for those of you that know what Highway 12 looks like around Lewiston, Idaho, it'd be very similar. And this is a bypass, a two-lane bypass that would carry 20,000 cars a day.
Would it also be open for truck traffic?
Yes, definitely be open for truck traffic, and it'll be a relatively uninterrupted flow, right? If you think about along the railroad tracks out there where the loop trail is, it would be uninterrupted. And so part of this project involves relocating the loop trail and actually making the loop trail nicer, making that area of our, the Haran area nicer, the park area nicer. So it's also about some of our other assets is transportation and the non-motorized trail that exists.
Now let's take a look at this second illustration here that Caitlin's brought up for us. And there you see the Columbia River on top. And what are we looking at here?
There, picture yourself hovering over the Holiday Inn, in a helicopter over the Holiday Inn, and you're looking down on the Haran wetlands area, and you see Confluence Parkway goes right along the railroad tracks, and we illustrate a pull-off area. We believe there should be an interpretive area there. This is a very important cultural site, a heritage area. From the Colvilles and Yakima nations. And then you see the loop trail gets relocated. Currently it's right along the railroad tracks, and we would push the loop trail a little ways away from the railroad tracks, and it would connect in down by where the corner Miller and Holly is.
Burlington Northern plays a critical role in all of this. Maybe you can explain how it was that you got them on board, first of all.
You bet. So many people don't know it, but the Burlington Northern line that runs through Wenatchee is the Seattle-Chicago main line, a really important freight corridor.
It's the Empire Builder.
It's the Empire Builder, yep. And so Burlington Northern does not like at-grade crossings because they have a huge risk of accident. So we have at-grade crossings at Miller Street and at Holly Street right now, and we will do away with those and put underpasses under the tracks, just like we have at Fifth Street, only nicer looking.
Okay, so essentially the federal grant will pay for what?
It'll pay for those underpasses, it'll pay for Confluence Parkway, and it'll pay for an interchange over in Douglas County. They call it the North End Development at Cascade. So where Highway 2 crosses, actually there's a bridge already there over the sand. We'll put an interchange there, and that will access that land that Douglas County Port's been working on to prepare for development.
So at this point, what is the status of the grant application?
The grant application submitted. Hats off to our team that put in a lot of work to put in a good application. And we will probably wait about 6 months for USDOT to review the grant applications along with all the others across the nation. And then we'll see where we end up. And we're hopeful to either get a partial award or full award. I prefer full award, but sometimes they give you partial awards to start things off.
Our congressional delegation, are they on board?
They are. They are. In fact, they submitted letters of support for the application, and we met with their staff back in D.C. here about a month ago, and they're happy that we're coming together as a team to put together this application.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's been a long planning process that went into this, because I know we've been talking about a lot of these projects for, gosh, 15, 20 years it seems like, and I know there's always been a lot of discussion at the metropolitan planning level through the Wenatchee Valley Transportation Council.
Exactly. You know, we have always focused on this loop. George Seller Bridge was the last big investment. And you know, we added up the investments over the last 10 years, $110 million that we've put into this loop over the last 10 years, and that only $4 million was federal. Out of that 110 million. So that gives you some perspective. It's time for the federal, the transportation system of our nation to join the party and help us out here.
So why are we seeing the big participation by Douglas County? I mean, how does it benefit Douglas County?
You bet. So specifically the Cascade Interchange in that north end development. So once you go across Odebashan Bridge on the north end of our community, our valley, there's a lot of open land there that Douglas County would like to see ready for development. So we have a housing crisis, for example.
True.
You know, it opens up some land that is accessed by transportation.
So that north end plan that they've been working on in Douglas County Port would be benefited by this.
Yes, there's about 17 million that goes directly into that project.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Steve King, Wenatchee City Community Development Director, joining us, talking about this huge federal grant that they're applying for to pay for a myriad of projects here to improve transportation through the Wenatchee Valley. Steve's going to stick around for a few more minutes, and we'll talk about some other city planning projects that are going on, because there are many, because definitely the city of Wenatchee is in a state of transition right now. We'll have more on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley as we continue.
Sliding on the bottom, and he got the pin. Swung on and hit hard to left field. Caught out there in left field. Yes, on the NCW Life Channel, your local TV station.
The 2017 Ski-Doo Summit sleds. Next generation REV platform. The most powerful two-stroke engine in the industry. For the unmatched handling and power to own the next side hill, the next drop, the next ride. Ski-Doo. What matters is what's next.
I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCW Life Channel.
I'm Eric Grandstrom with NCW Life Sports.
I'm NCW Life News Director Steve Hare.
Catch us on LocalTel Channel 12.
You can watch us on Charter Channel 19 or stream us live on ncwlife.com.
Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook.
Where we cover the local high schools, the Wenatchee Wild, and the pro teams out of Seattle.
On Saturday, we have a 90% chance of rain.
Catch it all right here on the NCW Life Channel.
This is TV. This is TV Set Free. TV everywhere from LocalTel sets you free to watch what you want, where you want. Catch your favorite networks, including live TV, ready to watch on any web-connected device for no extra charge. That's TV Set Free. Enjoy the extra value LocalTel delivers with TV everywhere. Visit localtel.net and sign up today.
And we're back on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley for this Wednesday, November 8th. Again, for all the election results from last night, go to our website at ncwlife.com. We have a link there to all the elections returns for Chelan, Douglas, Grant, and Okanagan counties. Want to welcome again our guest in the studio today, Steve King with the City of Wenatchee. We've been talking about that major transportation grant that you've applied for, along with some other entities here in Chelan and Douglas County. But I also wanted to talk to you about the growth of the city right now, because we were talking a little bit off mic about what Wenatchee would like to see itself as in the future, and we have this group, the Our Valley, Our Future organization that's helping in that planning process going forward. But Steve, I know that we were talking about our city and the changes that are occurring here and the growth that's occurring, and it's your job basically to kind of map out that growth to see how we can accommodate new residents and the and then, of course, we have this situation going on right now with the housing crunch, affordable housing crunch, and cities making great strides, I think, towards filling that hole. But again, Steve, let's talk about growth in the city.
Yeah, you know, I'm glad you brought this up, because there's a lot of different perceptions on what growth means, and the bottom line is growth happens. It has happened in the past, it's happening now, and it will continue to happen. And if you look at other cities, I like to look at Boise as an example. 40 years ago, Boise was the same size as Wenatchee, and look at what it is now. So growth is going to happen. And what I'm really encouraged about is our Valley, Our Future group has basically a grassroots effort, has brought up all these intentional planning action items to structure our valley, intentionally change our valley to accommodate the growth and shape it in a way that I think actually keeps the character of Wenatchee, the really nice character that we have.
Well, the public is being engaged every step of the way through that process too.
Yeah, and you need that because the public is ultimately also the ones shaping the growth. It's really about culture. It's about how do you deal with educational issues. It's transportation we talked about. It's business development, housing, and government just doesn't do that alone. This is a partnership, and if you don't have very intentional actions, then it happens haphazardly, and you end up with some things you probably don't want to see as your valley grows.
Well, I know that there are some examples that you could share on past projects. I know that you go through these sub-area plans, which you engage the public with through every step of that process. And most notably, I think that riverfront development and the way that is evolving is really a major feather, at least in the planner's cap.
Oh, it's amazing. The waterfront sub-area plan adopted back in 2004 was a public-based, engagement-based plan. And look where we are now with the Pybus Market, the hotel going in, the housing units. It really is coming together, and it wouldn't have happened without that plan. And what would have happened is there would have been a real haphazard development pattern. You would never get the synergies of the hotel and Pybus Market located right in downtown, right? That's the result of good planning, and I'm very thankful to be involved in that.
You know, we were talking about Douglas County earlier and the city of East Wenatchee. How can the city of Wenatchee and, let's say, Chelan County work more closely on these growth issues with our counterparts across the river?
Well, you know, so economies, and when an area grows, they don't really care about what jurisdiction you're in. There are, I mean, people in economies cross jurisdictional lines. So I think that's the nice thing about Our Valley, Our Future is it does pull together all the agencies so that we're communicating and talking. That doesn't mean you don't do things a little differently, and you should, to create some identity and differences, so there's a variety of things. But it should also happen informed by everybody's actions, and it helps us all structure what we do to help the overall goals.
It's important that everybody be on the same page.
Absolutely, you bet, you bet.
Well, Steve, we've got some projects that are ongoing, under construction here in the valley. I know you mentioned the new hotel that's going in down here at the riverfront next to Pybus. Drove past that site yesterday and noticed that they're doing some site preparation and actual construction now.
Yes, yeah, I saw the footings are poured, and so it's a race right now to get the footings all done before snow and the frozen ground is what we're really worried about. But our hope is that they get all the footings done and then they start you'll start seeing something go up vertically, hopefully later this winter or first into spring.
Lodging industry seems to be growing here in the Wenatchee Valley. Across the river, we've got the new Marriott that's going in there.
Yeah.
The Hilton going in here. What are you hearing out there? What is the buzz about the Wenatchee Valley? And because obviously the effort to create or establish this area as an outdoor recreation hub appears to be catching on with the lodging industry.
I think you're exactly right. I think there's two things driving the lodging industry. I think there's business. So I don't care if you're working on server farms in Quincy or in Douglas County, you're coming here as workers to stay. And then I think we've made great strides in our tourism industry and really feeding off of some of the successes in Leavenworth and Chelan. Mission Ridge, our waterfront, you know, the water, biking, mountain biking, the trails, all that stuff is the Town Toyota Center and wintertime activities. We're really seeing the lodging, it just continues to grow. And the hotels recognize it. That's why they're building.
Housing, which is the chief, I think, issue right now in the Wenatchee Valley, or a lack thereof of affordable housing. It sounds like there are some movement there as well in terms of creating some new multi-housing development.
You know, multifamily housing is probably the easiest way to attack the problem in terms of getting the number of units established. And thankfully, we have a few projects in the pipe. There's some projects down on the riverfront again, 140 units there, 65 units out on McKittrick Street, and then there's some pipeline discussions about another maybe 300 or 400 units over the next few years. That's huge because we have about a 1,600 unit deficiency, all said.
One final note, I wanted to ask you about the status of the city's negotiations right now with LocalTel to access some space at the federal building.
Well, we're pretty excited about this. It's the federal building is a fantastic structure, and we're working right now with LocalTel to figure out how to condominiumize that building to where hopefully we'll be under construction maybe in a year or two. To actually move City Hall into that. We're out of space, and we're just excited about the opportunity to consolidate city services over there.
That's wonderful. Steve King is the, well, let's call him the Chief Land Use Planner for the City of Wenatchee as the Community Development Director. I want to thank you for joining me here on the show today. Anything else that you'd like to share with our viewers this morning regarding the city and let's say where we're headed?
Well, just, you know, enjoy this valley. It's a great valley. It's beautiful. I love your guys' pictures in the morning, your cameras. And, you know, get out and enjoy it. We're heading into winter, so be safe. And happy holidays to everybody.
Yeah, in fact, I was going to get a hold of Matt Leonard, your Public Works Director here in the near future, because we want to get an update, let's say, on snow removal. Of course, that's coming up. And got good news from last year. That new brine system that they bought is pretty much paid for itself, according to Matt.
It's huge, great move. Matt did a good job coming, and the team did a great job coming together to figure that one out. That was awesome.
Notice that our city Parks and Recreation Director has been reelected to the Cashmere City
saw
Council.
that,
Dave?
Congratulations, Dave.
Speaking of which, boy, he's been a busy guy.
Oh, yeah.
Over the past year with the new park development and everything else.
Oh, it's wonderful.
That's wonderful news.
Yeah, and I just saw some presentation or some information yesterday from him. Lincoln Park's our next big effort. There's some rehab needs in Lincoln Park, so we're pretty excited.
Oh, what with the new park there at Saddle Rock, the new gateway to that trail system up there, and some of the things that the Chelan Douglas Land Trust is doing to make that trail system so attractive. Really, the city of Wenatchee, really, we should put our dark glasses on. I mean, in terms of the future.
It's impressive. And those parks are so valuable to quality of life, right?
Yeah.
It's just amazing,
Really is. Well, Steve King, good luck to you going forward with this grant application. We'll keep our fingers crossed and knock on wood, we'll get some money back here to improve transportation here in the Wenatchee Valley. That's going to wrap it up for the program today. Again, folks, Steve Hare with you as your guest host for Dan Kuntz. Joining me here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Tomorrow, on our Thursday edition, Linda Haglund will be joining us from the Wenatchee Downtown Association. She'll be bringing with us, with her rather, a merchant, and we'll discuss downtown business. Steve Hare, thanks for joining us on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley.